World War II is over. Cities are rebuilt. Families have gone home. But somewhere deep in the jungle, a soldier is still fighting. Not for days, not for months, for 29 years. This isn't a myth. This isn't a legend. This is the true story of a man who refused to believe a war had ended because surrender, to him, was worse than death. And what makes this story even more unsettling, he wasn't lost. He was following orders. His name was Hiroo Onoda, a Japanese intelligence officer trained in guerrilla warfare during World War II. But Onoda wasn't like most soldiers. He was trained for something different, not to win battles, but to survive them, to stay hidden, to resist, to continue fighting no matter what, even if it meant doing it alone. In 1944, Onoda was sent to a small island in the Philippines called Lubang Island. Before leaving, his commanding officer gave him a final order. You are absolutely forbidden to die by your own hand. You may take as long as you wish, but you must not surrender. No matter what happens, we will come back for you. Those words would trap him for nearly 3 decades. In 1945, World War II ended. Japan surrendered, but Onoda didn't believe it. Leaflets were dropped from planes telling soldiers the war was over. He studied them carefully and concluded they were fake, enemy propaganda, a trick, because to Onoda, surrender was unthinkable. So he stayed, hiding in the jungle, living off the land, carrying out guerrilla attacks, waiting for orders that would never come. At first, he wasn't alone. 3 other soldiers were with him. But over time, one surrendered, one was killed, another disappeared, until eventually it was just Onoda, alone in the jungle, for years, then decades. He survived on coconuts, bananas, stolen rice. He repaired his uniform, maintained his rifle, and continued fighting a war that no longer existed. Over the years, people tried to find him. Search parties were sent, more leaflets dropped, even messages from his own family. But Onoda refused to believe any of it, because if he accepted the war was over, everything he had done, every year he had spent hiding, would have been meaningless. So instead, he chose to believe he was still a soldier, still fighting, still waiting. In 1974, a young Japanese traveler named Norio Suzuki went looking for him, not as a soldier, not as a rescue mission, but out of curiosity. And somehow he found him, deep in the jungle. And when they met, Suzuki told him, "The war is over." But Onoda refused. He would only surrender if ordered by his original commanding officer. So Suzuki did something unbelievable. He went back to Japan, found Onoda's former commander, and brought him to the jungle. Nearly 30 years after World War II had ended, Onoda stood in the jungle, still in uniform, still armed, still ready to fight. And finally, his commanding officer gave the order to stand down, to surrender, to stop fighting. Onoda followed the command, just as he had been trained to do. When he emerged, the world he returned to was completely different. He had outlived the war, outlasted the mission, outlasted the reason he had been fighting at all. For 29 years, he wasn't lost. He was waiting. It's easy to call this story unbelievable, but maybe the strangest part isn't that he stayed. It's why he couldn't leave. Because sometimes the hardest thing to accept is that something you dedicated your life to is already over. And somewhere, even today, there are still people fighting battles that ended a long time ago.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends so you will receive more obscure facts and stories from the mundane mystery files.